Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at people who solved their childhood mystery. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. I met my wife in college, and when we were dating, she often mentioned that when she was a kid, she had a play doctor's kit that was stolen from her house. She had some surgeries really young, and so her parents bought it for her to demystify the doctor's office. She'd use it all the time on her dad, poking and prodding him. One day I asked her about the robbery. Did they take everything? Jewelry, the TV, other valuables? No, no, and no. It hit me. I asked, so someone broke into your house and only stole your doctor's kit, leaving anything worth fencing there? Yeah, why? Did you ever consider your folks were tired of you using the kit on them all the time after you got better? Oh, damn. We confirmed it with her dad later, but for 15 years, she had believed some thief broke in and only stole her beloved doctor's kit. Wow. I love how the person listening to the story can see how obvious it is, but she just never knew. Wow. Her dad was sick of it. I'm sick of you poking me with that. Let's make up a story and just let her think that someone stole it. I love how the story wasn't even like that convincing either, but she just believed it for like 15 years. She probably would have still believed it if her husband didn't tell her. I solved a family mystery for my mum. I wasn't allowed to play console video games during the week all the way until I was 18, but some nights I'd really be craving it, so I would noiselessly creep through my house into my basement where I could play video games in peace. But once every 30 times or so, one of my parents would need something from the basement, and I'd quickly turn off the TV monitor, hide in the guest room, and pray they didn't turn on a light or notice the Xbox was on. One night, I ducked into the guest room and hid behind the bed. To my horror, my mum followed me into the room and turned on the lights. I was panicking, so when she started digging through the closet with her back to me, I made a run for it. I nearly brushed her shirt, and if she'd seen me, I'd probably given her a heart attack. But I made it and kept going all the way to the bed. About 5 years went by, and my mum said something like, "You're such a quiet walker." And I told her it was because of my basement trips, thinking I had nothing to lose. My mum's face went kind of solemn, and when I explained, she said, "So there really was someone down there." And she explained that she remembered that exact night and the feeling there was a ghost in the room. Over the next couple of days, she'd stare into space and just say, "I can't believe you were really there." She seemed to get over it, but she probably checks empty rooms closer now. What in the what? He was the one that made his mum think that the basement was haunted. Dude, that's so scary. You know, you're just like, in the basement digging for something, and then you feel like wind just brush past you, and you turn around and there's just no one. Obviously you're gonna think there's a ghost in there. Oh my gosh, that would scare me too. Oh, but it was just this little shit. I mean, just my kid playing video games in the basement at 12 a.m. I love how all these years she probably avoided trying to go to the basement just because of this. And now he just told her randomly, and she's like... One evening when camping, my brother caught a fish that we decided to keep alive in the cooler for some reason. Well, the next morning we ran out to see the fish, and it had grown like 5 inches. We were so excited and didn't know how the fish grew that much overnight. Last year we brought it up, and my dad said he had got up that morning and seen the fish being taken by a raccoon, and that he spent the next hour or so frantically fishing for another one. He said he caught the new fish, the first one he was able to catch, just a few minutes before we got up. I had never questioned that the fish growing that much as I grew up, but after hearing what really happened, I did feel like we probably should have wondered about that more. I would have believed it if I was a kid too, honestly. I mean, I probably would believe it now too. I probably would be like, what the heck happened to the fish? What kind of like water it drink? Of course it had to be a freaking raccoon stealing food. Come on. I want to see a raccoon carry a fish though. Like, wouldn't the fish still be flapping up and down? But this story is so freaking wholesome. The dad just spent all morning trying to catch a fish so they wouldn't be upset. Aww. Who ate all the cherries in the cherry cake? I was blamed for this for years after someone picked out all the cherries and ate them during a family Christmas party. 8 years later, my little sister confessed to me that it had been her. 8 years later, the little sister was like, hey, remember that time someone took all the cherries? Yeah, well, that was me. Oh, little sisters. I could imagine myself doing that, to be honest. When I was 10, my godfather gave me $20 as a Christmas gift. At the end of the dinner, the money had disappeared. For years, my parents blamed me for being irresponsible with my money. Years later, we figured out after she was caught stealing stuff from my aunt's house that my cousin's fiance stole it. Stealing money from a kid? Wow, you're so cool. I visited my dad when I was 6 or 7 years old at the place where he worked, or so I was told. I remember remarking at the time, and people laughed at me because I said it looked just like a prison. The people laughing were the guards, and I was indeed visiting my dad at Terminal Island Federal Correctional Institution, where he was a federal inmate. Oh. But I do feel like this was a good white lie, you know? Because the kid doesn't have to tell people that, oh, my dad's in prison. Instead, he believes the lie, so he's like, oh yeah, my dad's working here. And, you know, the other kids won't look down on him for that. My dad used to say he could stop the rain for a moment by snapping his fingers. He'd do it in the car when it was pouring. I was so mesmerized. Told all my friends about it. Well into late elementary school. I've since realized he'd snap as we drove underneath an overpass. That's so wholesome though. Dads and lying to the kids, honestly. I remember when my dad lied, telling me like he could literally see me at home, at school, whenever, when he was at work. And I believed it because he told me every single thing that I've been doing at school. And then I found out years later when I was like 8 or something, and I was finding it a bit sus, and I realized it was because every single time I'd tell my mum every single thing that happened at school, and she'd tell my dad. And then my dad would come home from work, and then he'd be like, I know what you did today, Ellen. That is such a good trick to not have your kids do anything bad though. Like, because of that lie, I just thought he was watching me everywhere, so I wouldn't dare do anything bad. I was just being a little goody two-shoes. That's why I'm so shy. I've always wanted to know what was behind the ATMs at a bank, how it worked and where did the money come from. I grew up and worked at a bank just to find out some fat dude had to squeeze behind the ATMs to refill it. Did they really have to include the fat dude? Why couldn't they just be like some dude, huh? That the random claps at midnight in my house weren't from ghosts and weren't claps either. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jeez, now this makes me try to think back, like, was there anything that I heard that wasn't what I heard? Oh no. We grew up poor, and at the age of 10, my friends were all having these crazy birthday parties with petting zoos, bounce houses, clowns, etc. So my mother, who is very resourceful, decided I would have a sleepover for my 11th birthday. It was great, and we were gonna make ice cream cones. So we got all the stuff out with my mum, and my mother opened up the box of cones, and they were all smashed up. She said that we weren't having regular ice cream. We were having Magic Castle sundaes because the broken ice cream cones resembles the section of a castle. We all thought this was great and we had them. When my friends went home, they asked their parents to make Magic Castle sundaes. 2 days ago, I found out that my mother was getting the past sell-by foods behind the grocery store. They were not expired, just past sell-by date. She had no idea that the cones were broken up until she opened them with us. She thought of the Magic Castle idea quickly, and we all loved it. Just goes to show how stupid kids are. Oh, this is so wholesome. That's a good mum. Instead of being like, well, the cone's broken, so we can't make this anymore. Sorry, kids. She thought of this idea. What a great mum, honestly. Even though they grew up poor, we can tell how happy they actually were. Wholesome. When I was like 8 or so, I answered our house phone, and it was a man who asked to speak to my mum. Didn't ask her by her name. Said, could I speak to your mum, please? I asked who it was, and he said, it's Santa Claus. I was so excited and ran to my mum, and I was telling all my friends for days that Santa Claus had called my house. This led me to believe in Santa for a few years, longer than most kids normally do. I was heartbroken when I found out that Santa wasn't real. Years and years later, I remember to ask my mum who had called that day and said there was Santa Claus. It was our reverend, and my mum was a deacon. He had known me for years, so recognized my voice when I answered and knew what age I was. It had never occurred to me. Oh my gosh, I thought it was gonna take a bad turn. I thought it was going to be like, oh, my mum cheated. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!